what it is. Every revolution or every political movement or any kind of change, and having someone, okay, CIA, which is fucking for you to call me CIA when you know I'm not.
Everything was politicized. It was, oh, this is when we became the left versus the right. But both sides are trash. In COVID,
his own thing. So it seems to be that money's the issue, that like we're using money and that's how politics is being pushed. Because now we've seen what someone does when they use their own money, and it doesn't seem to be a solution. So I feel like we take money out of politics, we'll have a much better political system.
Politician, you think they're gonna come out and tell me the truth? They was lying to my mama. They ain't gonna never tell us.
So everybody, we look at certain things just because, oh, this happens in the hood or we see this every day. All the way up. These people were speaking truth. King, we could talk X, we could talk it all. They were speaking truth.
What's going on in anyone's mind, but let's take it as a given that Gray's argument is true, that the argument to not have ID is that it would be discriminatory versus certain socioeconomic brackets or something. It's like
the world's greatest trial run of what people will do and what people won't do. And we are the only country on the planet that really fought against the government. A lot of it,
because you focus on 80-20 issues. I'm looking at the Epstein issue as we have 80% of the information we need to prosecute these people that actually did anything, but you're focusing on the 20% trying to take down Donald Trump, which you're never going to get. So I'm going to keep sitting here with a smug-ass face on every single day.
I'll explain. Good question. I'll give you the answer. The Republican Party constantly talks about transgenders and transgender surgery to minors.
I'm mostly on the left, ideologically, but I don't associate with the Democrats because they're not ideologically on the left. The Democrats are clowns, and they're also losers.
About to be any engaging conversation. It's not about to be any discourse about different political ideologies, what works and what doesn't. If that is the outcome, right? For example, I'm not gonna go and just put myself in the middle of a KKK rally.
Verify me. I'm not a fucking Fed. They always do this. I'll say this, right? And they did the same thing to Nick. We've seen the video. They'll call people who are genuine and authentic Feds because
the interesting thing to me is that the ones that claim that they believe the Constitution are now trampling the Constitution. The ones that said they believed in the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, right, are now going against the freedom of speech.
leadership perspective.
They don't have no plan. They don't ever talk about nothing positive about the Democrat Party. Everything is just anti-Trump. They're not willing to have a conversation. They call us fascists. We willing to have a conversation. Charlie Kirk's willing to have a conversation.
Get back! Right in the face! Get back! All on video! Kill someone else! Kill someone else! Don't get killed for this. It's not worth it, man.
Go another way! Move! Go another way! Move! Go another way! Behind us! Move!
Get out of the way! Get out! Chris, get out the way! Get out the way of the truck! Move! 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 Fuck you, Pluto! Fuck you! Nazis! 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 Nazis!
Brings back memories.
Get out of there. Hey, let the vehicle leave.
You guys are breaking families, man. You can't be doing that shit.
Fuck off!
That was the scene where confrontation was building for John, as we can now see on video, was building for a matter of minutes. Not exactly sure how long that went on, but clearly we saw tear gas and pepper spray deployed as those ICE agents who were driving in trucks were starting to be blocked by what appeared to be a quickly growing crowd of protesters who were clearly stepping in front of the vehicles, trying to stop the vehicles from being able to move. And that obviously escalated to what we now know is an ICE-involved shooting, which involved a woman ramming her car to the point where the ICE agents said that they had to protect themselves and others around them, fired off a shot. That woman is now deceased, as Christine Ohm just confirmed.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Described him as one of the most dangerous men on the face of the earth.
Welcome to the Man Cave. Welcome to the Man Cave. I'm Gray Mars.
I'm Doc. Kim Billions, what's good?
It's Mia.
85 Slim.
I'm Skeptic.
So as you can see in the video, Minneapolis is in chaos because of a shooting that just happened. Doc, have you heard about the shooting that happened in Minneapolis?
Yeah, I heard about it and was discussing it earlier with some of my friends. I think if you ram your car into any type of law enforcement, I think you might meet lethal force. I think my biggest issue with ICE though is the transparency. So even if you wanted to file a complaint, who are you filing it against? You don't know the officers, you don't see their faces, you don't have any idea who these people are. They don't identify themselves properly. They don't show any ID. These are just people in masks and in a uniform saying that they're ICE. And I'll say that, for example, because I had a friend who we could say allegedly at the moment, but he dressed up as an Amazon employee and knocked on somebody's door and held them hostage. You know what I mean? Just because he looked like he was Amazon, I ain't make him Amazon. You know what I mean? Shout out to him if you're watching too, bro. But yeah, so like it's just stuff like that. Like my biggest thing is I've had interactions with law enforcement. I'm able to file a complaint even when the feds come get you. Somebody is in the windbreaker with his credentials out, and he gives you his name on the paper, and you're able to file a complaint. You're able to know who's actually arresting you, who's charging you. These dudes, they aren't identifying themselves properly, and I think that's one of the biggest issues with that branch of law enforcement.
For sure. So for people who haven't seen the shooting, we're going to play it. Viewer discretion is advised. Ken, is this just another example of police brutality?
I don't know if it's that. I think this is American versus American. And who do the ICE agents serve? Do they serve the American people? If so, who are the people that are asking for this to be done? Or do the ICE agents serve the state? And if this is a democracy, as they say, this is for the people, then the state has to bend to the will of what the people want. It's backwards. Like, we do what the state wants. The state is for the people, right? So who is this for? So do the ICE agents represent the American public, or do they represent a different entity? Because if this is representation of other Americans, then they just killed a woman.
Go ahead. What you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so the discrepancy with this is was this self-defense or not? So here's the angles of people trying to slow it down and say, oh, it was self-defense, or if it wasn't. Me, after seeing that footage, is it self-defense?
I think it is a lose-lose situation. I think that's why you don't see foundational Black Americans be fucking with motherfuckers who's stupid enough in 2026 to catch a federal charge. Bitch, stay your ass home. That's why Black people ain't out there. We're not trying to get arrested. We're not trying to get fed charges. What's the point at this point in time? That woman is dead, and honestly, it's justifiable because no matter how you swing it, there is an officer at her front quarter panel. 3 of those angles showed us there's an officer at her front quarter panel, and then also one of them showed an officer coming up and clearly, very vigilantly telling her, get out of the vehicle, and she hit the gas after he said that. Plus, there's that officer, like I said, at the front quarter panel. So if we took this to the court of law, the officer would win. I mean, it is what it is. Don't put yourself in situations where you're going to get hurt.
So
I mean,
go ahead.
I mean, don't put yourself in these situations. Everybody knows, and that was an adult female. Everybody knows the most dangerous place for you to be with a police officer is in a car. So the first thing you're going to want to do is put your hands fucking out the window and then go from there. So, I mean, maybe because she's white and she has a little bit of privilege with that and she didn't think of that. But still, I mean, at the end of the day, she's surrounded by police officers. Why the fuck would you put your foot on the gas? If anything, I'd be ignition off, throw my keys out. Bitch, you ain't getting me. I'll throw my keys right out. I'm going nowhere. Impound my car.
For sure. So there was a doctor on scene, and this is how ICE agents reacted to the doctor saying that he was a doctor.
Can I go check a pulse?
No! Back up! Now!
I'm a physician!
I don't care! We understand. We got EMS coming. I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my fucking
fucking neighbor. You call butter in the fucking face. You killed my fucking neighbor. How do you show up to work every day? How the fuck do you do this every day? You're killing my neighbors. You're stealing my neighbors. What the fuck, man?
Slim, I hear you laughing. You feel like the lady's wrong to be upset about her neighbor getting deleted?
I mean, she's upset. She's emotional. She probably knew the lady, but Mia hit it on the nose, man. Like, F around and find out, man. At the end of the day, you don't mess with law enforcement. You don't mess with people with guns that's posing as law enforcement. A moving vehicle is a deadly weapon. In their eyes, the guy was in the front. He didn't know if it was going left or right. At the end of the day, man, this is what happens. I don't think it has anything to do with anything else but the right to pull the trigger, man. I mean, it's a sad situation. Trust me, it's real fucked up. But I mean, this can happen with regular law enforcement. It's not just because it's ICE. I mean, that's just what it is.
So supposedly she was the one that started this confrontation. This is what they said she said to ICE.
Breaking down what exactly you saw this morning.
Basically, ladies trying to warn everyone ICE is in the neighborhood. Just letting them know, hey, and telling ICE, hey, you're destroying families, whatnot. Stop doing this. Hey, get out of here. Stop that. She reversed so traffic can go by. The pickup truck, gray pickup truck, officer ICE got out and was telling her, hey, well, didn't tell her anything really, just telling her what, I'm going to open up your door and I'm going to get you out. And that's when the shooting happened, and the car took off, and then it sped off and crashed right into the cars.
Can you talk about the agent that was stepped in front of the car?
The way he was in the clear. There was another one at the front part of the car on the driver's side. Then there's one right there by the door that's opening, trying to get in the door. Then you have one that's in front of the car that was already coming from the side. And he was just getting clear because he already see that, hey, this person could take off, but, maybe I'll try to, intimidate you with my gun.
Ken, so basically he said that she went up to ICE and said, you're destroying families. So do you feel like she's out there causing chaos? What do you think?
I mean, I'll never lean towards the state for shit, though. So if the public wants to cause chaos, that's for the rest of the American people to decide on her outcome, not the state, right? So whatever the people want to do, I'm with, you know what I'm saying? I'm not with the state. So if she's guilty, it has to come from the people, not the state. I don't think, because when anybody that's working for the state, it's just in your psychology to other Americans. You don't see them as American. You don't see them as a brother, a sister. You don't see them as a neighbor. You see them as a other, and the people that work with the state with you are your family. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that's part of the federal government is your family, but the public is not your people, though. So I don't give a damn what she did. I'm never going to side with the state.
Okay, so this is what Trump had to say about what happened.
Has just posted on Truth Social about today's incident in Minneapolis, saying, quote, I have just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator, and the woman driving the car was very disorderly, obstructing, and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, who seems to have shot her in self-defense. Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive, but he's now recovering in the hospital. The situation is being studied in its entirety. But the reason that these incidents are happening is because the radical left is threatening, assaulting, and targeting our law enforcement officers and ICE agents on a daily basis. They are just trying to do the job of making America safe. We need to stand by and protect our law enforcement officers from this radical left movement of violence and hate. If you had already watched the video and now you're hearing Donald Trump's comments, let me know what you...
So basically, it's saying, we're sorry to call you out, Kelly. Oh, this dude's a crisis actor. So, Slim, are these people fake Or have they been paid to go out there and cause trouble for Donald Trump?
For this particular reason, I mean, it happens. I'm not going to say yay or nay, but it happens. But that message is absolutely correct. It's happening because of everything that's been said about ICE, everything that's been, done with the left and how they feel about ICE being in the country. That's why this is happening. I mean, let's keep it real. It's not that they're able to just do their jobs and let it be done. It's that people have been protesting. It's now just getting worse. All you're seeing is just repercussions. That's it.
So this is what Chrissy Noem had to say. She's basically Homeland Security and what she had to say about what's going on.
Act of domestic terrorism. What happened was our ICE officers were out in an enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle, and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle. An officer of ours acted quickly and defensively shot to protect himself and the people around him. And my understanding is that she was hit and is deceased.
They are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit.
The preliminary information that we
$8 million from the
indicates
Somalis.
that this woman was in her vehicle.
I'm just throwing that out there.
And was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue, midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, a federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway. There is nothing to indicate that this woman was the target of any law enforcement investigation or activity.
Okay, so Kelly gave us a super chat. This is another false flag to incite more violence. Doc, you want to respond to that video or respond to Kelly's super chat?
See, I think there's 2 things that a lot of people miss. I think people will miss what we think should happen on the internet and what the reality is. I think the second time he fires in that car, he's clear of the car and she's no longer a threat. He's still firing the car. I think the reality is if you put your car in drive and you drive towards a police officer, he's going to shoot you. In any law enforcement. I mean, that's just the reality. If we get from behind our computers and we go out and we try it right now, 5 times out of 5, we're going to get shot in our face. Does that make it right? I don't know if that makes it right or wrong. I didn't think he was in a position where he would have been, some seriously injured or anything like that. But I think the first time he shoot, I think that's what happens. But I think the second time, he could potentially be held accountable. I think all of this stuff is to incite more violence. I mean, I rarely see ICE in the communities for the people who voted for him. And we can't say these communities don't have illegals because they do. So I think when you vote for deportation, but you send these people to the communities of people who didn't vote for you, and you interact in these communities in this manner, why you didn't start with the people who voted for you? That's what they want. Why didn't you clean up their communities first? You know what I mean? So I think that's part of it. A lot of the times when I see them there in communities of people who don't want them there, and that's not saying they can't go in there and do their job, because they absolutely can. I'm just saying I rarely see them in the communities of the people who voted for them. And I know for a fact because, I hang out with people who ain't got all their paperwork together that, they in those communities as well.
So, Mia, you tried to call out the mayor. This is what he had to say to you, ICE MAGA people.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. that's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done.
Mia, what's your response?
Where's my $8 billion? Where's my $8 billion, Jacob? Timmy Walls, Timmy Tampon Walls. Where's my $8 billion? You're going to sit here and tell me? Really? And you know what? The feds are only there because of them. And they forget that. You know, the feds had no intention of going into the Twin Cities at all, whether it be St. Cloud or Minneapolis. They had no intention of going in there until the fraud, the illegals, the $8 billion estimated plus money was stolen. I mean, they have themselves to blame. Had they properly done what they needed to do, had they not had this whole debacle, I mean, Tim Walz, for Christ's sake, had to drop out of his third-term race because that's how bad it is. You only drop out when you're guilty because he knew he wouldn't get reelected. So at this point in time, they have nobody to blame but themselves. And I blame them because, you know, clearly Minnesota is pretty lawless at this point in time. I mean, we're gearing up. They're making memes and jokes about a second round of riots. I mean, the first round leveled the city in $3 billion during 2020, and now here we are 2026. It's like circling back. I think they should have a little bit of blame because, like I said, the feds would not be there if they hadn't done their own Minnesota natives dirty. The feds wouldn't be there.
Well, you brought up a good point. People are comparing this to the George Floyd wallet riots. Some people coined it the Summer of Love. So this is Tim Walz activating his emergency powers today.
Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident. But we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully as you always do. We can't give them what they want.
So, Skeptic, I want to get your take on this. What a lot of the right-wing people are saying is that Tim Walz orchestrated this because he had to drop out of the race. So he's doing all of this to cause mayhem because of what happened with his own race. And, you know, basically, you know, everything that happened with George Floyd. So do you feel like Tim Walz is doing this because of everything that's happened with the fraud and everything like that?
I think that people deflect the way that they think on you. Like, it's always the person who's like, people are stealing, that's the person that's stealing. So if that's how the right thinks majority of the time, that's probably the tactics that they use. But I think it'd be really unwise to do something like this, especially with all of the chaos that's going on. I think that this was preventable if they would have properly trained these federal agents. But I read a report that said that some of these ICE agents couldn't even read past like 5th grade level reading tests. Like, a lot of them are just not trained. And we put them out here, allowed them to cover their identity, made them feel invincible. And then something like this happens. It almost was inevitable for somebody to get hurt. Like the way they were dragging a pregnant woman who was Latina and she lost the baby and nobody batted an eye. The way that they have been mistreating all these other people. But it's like, as soon as you touch a white person, all hell gets broken, you know? So like, I think it's a little bit, to me, it seems like it was going to happen. I'm not happy that it happened this way, but I feel like something was bound to give.
So here's some of the chaos that's happening down there. So, Ken, do they have a right to protest?
States' rights, yo. The people want them gone. You know what I'm saying? What do the people want? If the people want them gone, then they should go, right? Because I'm back to this. Who does ICE, who are they serving? You know what I'm saying? Who wants this? You know what I mean? So the state is not, we're not here to serve the state. The state is for the people. So if the mayor is saying they don't want them there, that's on the city level. And then the governor is saying what he is saying. And then you have the public saying them what they're saying. Who is ICE representing them? When the state and the city are saying that they don't want this. So ICE still proceeds. You know what I'm saying? So who are they doing this for? You're not doing this for the people. You know what I mean? Because the people are saying they don't want this. So don't you serve the people?
So is this a left or right fault? So we're gonna see what a gay Republican has to say about it.
To understand that we are in the FAFO era now. A leftist protester that drove away during this clash that happened between protesters and ICE in Minneapolis, Minnesota, was shot and killed by ICE agents. All right. First of all, the loss of any life is a tragedy. I'm not going to minimize this at all. All right. It is horrific that this happened. The whole situation is really, really regrettable. But what I will say is this: we are not in 2020. We are not in an era in which leftist protesters and Antifa and all of these people are just going to run around and treat law enforcement and treat ICE agents in any way they please. This is not the BLM protests, all right? When you think back to 2020 during BLM, these leftists in these cities were running crazy because the leftists that were running the cities, like the Democrats that were running these cities, were not empowering law enforcement and police officers to do their jobs. So this has implanted in people's minds the idea that you don't have to obey law enforcement, police, etc. You can just act however you want to these people. You can just speak however you want to these people, and there will be no repercussions. Now, let this really, really unfortunate situation serve as a reminder that these people are empowered to do their jobs, and if they feel threatened, they will use force.
Slim,
Wait, just real quick. I just don't like the word obey. That's what I'm saying. Like, listen to the language. Obey law enforcement. Like, that shit is problematic as hell.
But wasn't it like yesterday when it was like the anniversary of the people that stormed the Capitol because someone lost an election? Like, it's just a little bit hypocritical to me.
I'm gonna bring that up. I'm gonna bring that up. But Slim, you're the MAGA person. You're the MAGA representative. Is he right? You muted. You muted.
Yeah, he's 100% right. Facts, man. At the end of the day, if it was really about the people and what the people really want is why they fucking tax dollars been going away, you know, to these Somalians for the last however many years. And the mayor don't want to mention that. So I think all this shit is a distraction. And like basically, like Mia said, the reason that they dare is because of the fraud in that state. So you brought this shit upon yourself, and now you're trying to point fingers. Now you're trying to make shit look bad. Yo, listen, at the end of the day, a lot of money has been found. I don't even know how old that kid was that exposed everything, but this is a kid that exposed this. So when it comes to Tim Walz, when it comes to the mayor, they all looking bad, and they trying to turn the fucking finger the other way. The first thing Tim Walz said was Trump and this administration. Nothing to do with Trump, bro. They found the fucking fraud. A fucking kid exposed you guys. Period. This is where we are. Let's not forget.
So this is the argument for it being the right fault.
Tragic breaking news coming out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, where ICE agents just shot and killed an unarmed woman in her car. This is honestly the exact type of story I've dreaded having to report, and the exact type of situation that any rational American could have predicted based on the way that Trump and ICE have been operating over the past year. Before we even had clear footage of the event, Kristi Noem was saying that the victim, the 37-year-old woman who was pronounced dead on the scene, is a, quote, domestic terrorist.
You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism.
Wait, on which side? Who committed the terrorism? Because this woman was seemingly just driving away and she was shot from behind. They claim that she was actively putting ICE officers in danger and actively trying to take their lives. None of this is true. None of this is demonstrated by the video. The administration is going to spend probably the next few months spinning up legal and moral arguments as to why this was justified. But keep in mind, this was an unjustified use of force based on every video we've seen and based on every single eyewitness report surrounding the area. A witness to Wednesday's shooting in South Minneapolis told NPR News that she saw a federal agent shoot a woman several times. Heller said she heard ICE agents telling the driver, a woman, to get out of here, to get out of here. Quote, she was trying to turn around and the ICE agent was in front of her and he pulled out a gun and he reached across the hood and shot her in the face like 3-4 times. This follows a string of undertrained ICE agents going into usually majority Latino communities in order to stir shit up, scare people, rile shit up, and then when protests start, the Trump admin uses that as a pretext to use more and more force.
All right, Skeptic, you can speak for the left. Is he right? Well, Mia, you're the closest to the left here. Is he right?
I mean, two things can be true at once. Should the woman have died? No. Should she have pushed the gas pedal? No. I mean, they both can live in the same realm together at this point in time. I mean, they're
Also
offering
do,
like
Kelly's super chat. They want a left versus right psyop all the way.
Yeah, that's true. I agree, Kelly. I concur, Kelly. I concur with that. They do. But I mean, I feel like it's all of it. People are heightened. Everybody's nervous. It's day 7 and so much crap has happened. ICE, a lot of them aren't properly trained. I mean, these people are getting $50,000 bonuses and they're like yanking people basically off the street. So Skeptic's not wrong when it comes to training and whatnot, neither is Doc. So, I mean, it's probably all of it living and all of it's true together. It's just a recipe for disaster. And unfortunately, this woman died. But I mean, let this be a cautionary tale. Fuck around and find out. Stay on the sidewalk. Don't get in your car. I mean, don't obstruct these people. It's not worth your life, dude. It really isn't worth your life. This is a white lady. None of her family's Hispanic. You know, she ain't got a bunch of Venezuelans in her family. She needs to chill. Like, don't lose your life over something that's not even your cause. At this point in time, try to do it peacefully. Try not to get into the way, and it's better off to be away and zoom in on your camera and just record. But don't lose your life over people that don't care.
So Skeptic brought up the January 6th anniversary. So I'm going to play the most known person from January 6th, the shaman.
This is Jacob Chansley, better known as the QAnon Shaman. He became known around the world after the January 6th attack.
There he is. That's the QAnon Shaman. How are you doing?
Doing all right. How about yourself? Ahead of the 5-year anniversary of the Capitol attack, I went to Phoenix to see what he's up to now.
Are you still a Trump supporter?
No. I thought you knew that.
Why not?
The man alone refusing to release the Epstein client list was enough for me and I think a lot of other people to be like, okay, this is bullshit.
Jake pled guilty to obstruction of an official proceeding and was sentenced to 41 months in prison. He was later pardoned by Trump.
Looking back on Jan 6 now, how do you feel? Do you have any regrets? Do you regret that you went?
Not at all.
Even though you had prison, all that stuff?
Even though I had prison and all that stuff. No regrets. I don't live with regret.
Did you ever identify as the QAnon Shaman?
Never. Not once.
But you were a Q follower?
Well, kind of. I had a sign that I carried around with me for a little while that said Q sent me, but that was because of the meme Q sent me.
A key part of QAnon's conspiracy theories are claims of a child-abusing cabal of elites.
Now, like many of its followers who are loyal to Trump, Jake has stopped supporting the president because of his initial resistance to releasing information about Epstein, a convicted sex offender. One thing, and if you don't mind me, one thing that QAnon has done, right, is to like insert so much confusion and disinformation about like who was actually involved with Epstein that then it's just now impossible to know what the truth is.
The idea here is anybody can have a story, anybody can have a theory, but the water is so convoluted that the truth will never be officially established.
All right, Skeptic, you brought up January 6th. I do think it's crazy that January 6th happened and then this happened literally the day after the anniversary of January 6th. So what do you think about that? Is she frozen? Doc, same question. Skeptic, can you
For
hear me?
some reason, I cannot hear you, Gray, but I can hear everyone else. It's crazy.
Just
It's the craziest thing.
Doc,
He wanted you to respond to the clip based on what you thought about January 6th.
Oh, okay. I'll respond. I think that the man shows that he lacks critical thinking skills, even in like looking back. And when they ask him, do you regret it? And he's like, I have no regrets. You should regret that. Like, I'm sorry. But you should be able to think critically to say, I regret that I did something that was so, unwise. Like, it was very ignorant of me to go out there. And now I don't even like that I voted for this man. Like, I'm sorry. But then you are an ignorant person. And I can tell by the way that you are, you kind of like show yourself in the way that you think, that you don't think about things complexly. And I think that's part of the problem. This is why we have a 48% of our population that cannot read well, that are illiterate and cannot understand things that are kind of critical. You can't just like at face value take things. And I think that the majority of the base for Trump was that base, and he understood this. This is why he said that he loved the uneducated people. This is why he would speak in a certain way, because he understood that that was his base. He gave them a boogeyman, and come to find out, he is part of the boogeyman that they said, we're doing all these things. He's a part of the elite. Just because he talked down to you and talked dumb to you doesn't mean that he wasn't a part of the elite. He is an elite. He grew up with a silver spoon, more like a gold spoon in his mouth. And like, he doesn't understand you. And look at you now. It's wild.
So a lot of people are saying Trump is doing this to invoke the Insurrection Act. So this is what Gavin Newsom said before. It's a flashback clip about Trump invoking the Insurrection Act.
He's going to test the boundaries and the limits, and that's why I suggest the next phase of this is the Insurrection Act. It's only then that would give him license. He's got the Supreme Court now that is adjudicated at least partially. You've got lower courts. Justice Breyer here consistently has called this out, and he has no basis. And so on that basis of the past being prologue, there's no question in my mind that he's going to assert some other cockamamie decision. And the fact is, it takes so long. Gives him months and months as a process slowly moves through to test out further series and try to stretch the mind of imagination. And that's what it's always about for Trump. Once the mind is stretched from his perspective, it never goes back to its original form. He's constantly testing the boundaries, and he unquestionably will be doing again, including, Jacob, what he's doing with these quick response teams that he's committed to this month in all 50 states that will give him the ability to move at a moment's notice to every major urban center in America.
So, Doc, is Trump going to vote the Insurrection Act? Is this a way for him to take over? What do you think?
I'm not 100% sure that his thought process on some of these political things is even that long, because sometimes he's just kind of like living in the moment. I think if someone tells him something's a good idea, he's like, yeah, exactly. Do that. You know what I mean? It's like he's more of a delegator. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see there being enough going on for him to do the Insurrection Act. I mean, we're talking about Minnesota. It's one of the least populated states in the country. I mean, they do have a lot of issues in California, but that's mostly in LA. So I don't see enough going on for him to be able to get that through. But he did just go kidnap somebody in Venezuela and bring him back. So, hey, you might wake up in the morning and you don't never know what Apple gonna send to your phone and tell you he done, you know what I'm saying, did it the dead of night. So I don't know. I just have to stand by.
So I'm gonna play someone that was actually a guest on the new party, and she's talking about that she does the same thing that the lady was driving does.
You guys, I just watched the video of the woman in Minneapolis. Don't go watch it, okay? If you don't think you can handle it. It is the most frightening thing I have seen in a long time. This woman was driving away in her car, and they put their weapon in there and hit her in the face multiple times. This is not right. This was not self-defense. This was an execution. I am shocked because only a few weeks ago, I was driving around this town that I live in Charlotte, doing very similar things, looking for ICE agents, trying to prevent them from kidnapping people off the street. And there was a lot of other people out there doing that on a daily basis, as is our right to drive around the streets of our city. It's frightening right now. Please be peaceful in your protests and don't give them any excuse, because it doesn't look like they need any right now. I cannot believe that they just took this woman's life, a U.S. citizen, for no reason.
So Slim, I don't know if you ever met Pasta, but you know, that's someone I know personally. She worked with Gavin Newsom. I mean, seeing someone so emotional about this, do you feel like MAGA should slow down, that this is getting a little bit out of control?
What's MAGA doing? What they doing? That's what I'm saying. It's like, I thank God for opinions, but it's unfortunate a lot of people are delusional. But at the end of the day, man, you know, nobody deserves to be unalived. Nobody, especially for no reason. And that's not a black, white, left, right. That's just what it is. But let's just think logically for a moment, yo. Even the situation with Brody on January 6th, that clip is bullshit. These people get paid to talk shit about Trump. When we gonna realize that shit? That's a paid scenario. We worried about what's a paid scenario. That's clearly a paid scenario. But we wouldn't look at it that way because it's about Trump. At the end of the day, man, people act like people that's Republicans don't have a heart. We don't care, and that's not the case. What it is that we got away from logic. Everybody running around here with dodo bird brains. Shit is fucked up. That's where I'm at with it, yo.
I think one of the things I realized from this clip though is Americans don't really realize what gruesome is. And I had a discussion with somebody about even just the kidnapping in Venezuela thing, like, and I always tell somebody, a lot of my thought process on this is, would you donate your son's life to this cause? If you ain't willing to give your son life, then you don't really believe in it. You know what I mean? Because I had to get up out of the hood, so I was willing to give my life for this. So I know what gruesome looked like. I done seen T put a bullet through somebody's head and put his finger in there because he ain't wrapped too tight and he think it's funny. You know what I mean? I done seen people get ripped in half by that copper plate that they put on the front of the roadside bombs, and we pull them out the truck and they're in two pieces. And we take all the pieces home. We'd have picked up all of the pieces in body bags and we take them home. So I think America don't really know what gruesome is. So I think people need to realize sometimes, like, when you take these takes on these on online and how you feel about certain things, you got to realize, and I think people don't think about, what are you willing to do to perpetuate this? You know what I mean? Or this plan that these people, because those people not going. My son going. My daughter might go. My nephews, my cousin, or somebody like that. You feel me? None of these people are going. So I think that's something people need to be conscious of on the left and on the right, because they both do it.
Well, true. So you're talking about foreign policy, and Slim said, what is MAGA doing? Slim, this happened on the same day. Both of these stories.
Military says it has now seized a second Venezuela-linked ship in international waters. U.S. Southern Command says it took control of a sanctioned ship conducting what it's called illegal activities, or illicit activities, rather, in the Caribbean this morning. Earlier, the U.S. European Command said it had seized another oil tanker in the North Atlantic. The U.S. sanctioned that ship in 2024 for allegedly carrying Hezbollah-owned cargo and providing support to Iran. It's also suspected of being part of Russia's so-called shadow fleet used to avoid sanctions. Now, sources tell ABC News the Trump administration plans to oversee the sale of Venezuela's oil indefinitely. Let's bring in senior Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez and ABC contributor, former UK national security official Steve Hill for more. Hi, Louis. What's the latest on this second oil tanker seizure?
Diane, what we've learned is from U.S. Southern Command is that the MT Sophia, which was also a sanctioned vessel, has been interdicted by the U.S. Coast Guard. Now, this is very important to point out. Even though it's U.S. Southern Command that is actually assisting the Coast Guard and that is providing the helicopter lift to these vessels, it is U.S. Coast Guard personnel, highly kitted, highly trained elite units that actually carry out the interdiction, because this is a law enforcement action, because this vessel has been sanctioned. Now, we do know that earlier this week, over this weekend, that a host of some of these sanctioned vessels did leave Venezuela. Presumably, this was one of those vessels. It's key to remember that this is in international waters, and this is something that the United States is able to do, which was transport these elite teams to the vessel. Now, what we also have learned is that earlier today there was also another seizure in the North Atlantic, way up north, just south of Iceland and west of the United Kingdom, and that was another vessel. That was a vessel that had been pursued by the U.S. Coast Guard for nearly 2 weeks. After about on December 20th, the United States Coast Guard tried to board that vessel and did not succeed, and so the U.S. Coast Guard vessel has been following it. And what we've seen today is that, again, U.S. military personnel assisted in delivering U.S. Coast Guard personnel to board with a sanctioned vessel that was formerly called the Bella 1 and is now a Russian-flagged vessel. And recently, within the last week or so, it has become a Russian-flagged called the Marinera. And so the question now becomes, what is next, given that these are two vessels, two different parts of the world, but all linked to Venezuela, to Venezuela's illicit oil activity?
Mia, you're in the middle, so you know kind of both. Foreign and domestic policy, is MAGA winning?
I see both sides. So on one side, is it right for us to go into a foreign country and kidnap a foreign dictator and bring them to New York to face federal charges that we've had out on them since like 2020? Probably not. However, we also need to consider the power players in geopolitics. I mean, Venezuela, for people that don't know South America, Venezuela's at the tippity top. It's not like it's at the very bottom. It's at the tippity fucking top, and it's close. So at this point in time, Maduro also has formed a lot of alliances, links in the Caribbean, and World War III is coming, and we need to secure our hemisphere. And at this point in time, you got to decide what you want, okay? We can't have Russia, we can't have China just below us taking over in South America. You know, China and Russia already have a foothold in South America in specific areas. So, I mean, from a tactical point of view, yes, we need to secure the hemisphere that we're in. But at the same time, is it right for us to go in and try to destabilize and steal from a foreign entity? Absolutely not. But unfortunately, I'm in the middle on this because I can see both sides. And as Doc was saying, my son's 15. So if we go to World War III, it'll be my son that gets drafted in a couple of years. Obviously, I don't want that to happen for any reason. I don't want my child to have to go through that. Obviously, Doc has teenagers. You have teenagers. I mean, it's our kids that'll have to do that. And that's something that the elites don't think about when they take on these endeavors. So I am definitely in the middle on this. I do see both sides.
So I'm going to play a joke that Trump made about Greenland, and the poll for people wanting America to obtain Greenland went from 16% to 36%. So we're going to go around and each person say whether they want America to control Greenland. But first, I'm going to play the joke that Trump said.
Say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more dog sled. It's true. They thought that was a great move.
What would the justification be for a claim to Greenland? What would the justification?
Oh, I don't want to talk about Greenland now. I just say this. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And the European Union needs us to have it, and they know that.
All right, Doc, we're going to start with you and go around. Should the U.S. have Greenland?
I don't think so, unless they can come to some sort of agreement with the people who control Greenland, but not as in taking it. I don't think so.
Ken?
Man, based on the research I did of the trade route that's opening up because of melted ice, yeah, these is empire games. So yes.
Slim?
I'm on that chessboard, baby. It's a reason they moving the pieces. I'm all for it. So I'm gonna say yeah.
Mia?
Yes, empire games. We need Greenland. We need the trade routes. People don't realize Greenland and that entire Arctic Ocean area borders North America, obviously, but the United States on two fronts, plus Canada, who we share landmass with, who is our ally. I say that loosely. So yes, unfortunately we do need it, and hopefully we can come to some sort of peaceful agreement. But for empire games, we need it.
Skeptic?
Okay, can you hear me? So I think that I think obviously no, we don't, but I think that they're purposely instigating certain countries, and I think the whole war thing is going to be beneficial to him who's in power when things are falling apart. Like we've talked about the military complex. What better way to bring everybody together than to instigate a nation to attack you, or to say, oh, they didn't have a reason to come and do this, and so now we all have to unite as Americans and go out and fight. And I think that that's what this is. This is trying to make nations like angry, and then finally somebody does something towards us and we have to come together and fight a war and unite as Americans and kind of forget about everything negative that has been happening before that.
So I'll play a graphic that basically kind of explains why you guys want it and the money, and then we'll go into the final thoughts.
Nicolas Maduro and transporting him to a U.S. federal prison to face charges, Trump announced the U.S. will run the country until a safe transition is possible. But what if the U.S. never leaves? The Petro reset breaks OPEC's global price monopoly. By seizing Venezuela's 300 billion barrels of oil, the world's largest reserves, the U.S. crashes gas prices to a historic $1 at the pump. This logistics miracle slashes shipping costs by 70%, cutting the price of groceries and goods by 30% overnight. Inflation vanishes as the energy tax is deleted, triggering a surge in domestic manufacturing. The currency collapse is solved by replacing the bolivar with the US dollar, stabilizing cost while zeroing savings. As a migration reverse brings 7.7 million refugees back to rebuild $400 billion in decaying infrastructure. The Southern Command expansion dismantles gangs and rebels, cutting crime by 90% as Venezuela becomes a de facto 51st state. This superpower pivot evicts Russia and China, freezing $60 billion in debt and granting the U.S. total military and economic hegemony over South America.
If you're watching right now, hit that subscribe button and press that notification bell knowing we go live. Ken, what's your final thoughts?
Man, my final thought is we in empire games, and it's my personal opinion that the United States is going to dominate the entire hemisphere, and North America, Mexico, and the entire South America will be one thing. And China, they'll do a land grab, Russia will do a land grab, and the countries in the Middle East will do some type of land grab. We in empire games. So the trickle down effect is you got to kind of be empire games with your family and with your life. You got to hustle your ass off. You got to grind your ass off. You got to move people and move pieces around. It's not a time to be soft. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So our government is playing empire games. So I think it's time to pay attention and play little empire games in your own life.
Mia, what's your final thoughts?
I'm with Ken on this. It is Empire Games. This is like Game of Thrones at this point in time. We are moving chess pieces. We are not officially in World War III, but we have been in World War III. And you are going to see a lot of the big three, which is us, China, and Russia, start making territorial moves because we are gearing up for actual conflict. I mean, every metric that we have tells us we are in World War III, and this is Empire Games. I'm American, and I want the United States to win, so we need entire control of this hemisphere, and everybody should want that as well, just for your own preservation of your life and your family and your liberty.
Sure. Slim, your final thoughts?
Yeah, man, another good show. All I can say is just, be with your family, protect your loved ones, man. This shit is real out here. And don't sleep. Keep your eyes open, wide open. Bless up, man cave.
Stop.
I think things people overlook when we get into like taking these territories and these places is what happens when China decides they want South Korea back. We ain't moved our troops and we ain't moved that young kid who 18, 19, he all the way over in Korea, first duty station, he don't know what's going on. We ain't moved him back this way. What happened when they want to take back over the bases that's in Japan? What happened when Russia want to get rid of the American foothold in Germany and Italy and all of these places, Poland? It's a lot of dudes out here without a lot of support, just out on these islands. And I don't want to see these guys get sacrificed so that people can, drive their car a little bit cheaper at the pump. If you ain't got nowhere to go, sit your ass at home. But I just think we haven't made any type of discussions as a country as far as that. And I see it getting dangerous because I have a young son who's also 15, and I don't want him to pay the consequences of the actions that these 80-year-old, 75-year-old, these ancient and decrepit men are making for a world they'll never see exist. So that's a part of my problem. My son is going to live in this world. I'm hopefully going to live in this world a lot longer, and we are going to pay the price for somebody who's 80 years old, who's never going to see these ideals come to fruition.
Wait, real quick, I want to ask Doc, do you think so? Say if there was like a super empire situation and Russia expanded their territory, China, everybody, where people just started dominating their entire area, do you think the countries would do a people swap? Because as these empires are forming, every nationality is all over the world. So do you see there like being like a 60-day period for people to return to their country? Then after that, it's over?
I don't see it being advantageous for people because most people don't have the foothold America has in this world. So like they don't have the foothold in this country. Our foothold usually goes to their areas. There aren't many people who have the foothold America have around the world. When you go around the world and you see these bases or you see the type of places you can be stationed, it's usually us. It isn't always anyone else. So why would they do us the favor? They'll do us the same way Japan did us when they did Pearl Harbor. Why not? The amount of troops that we have out here is vast, and the island that they would be on would be a significant hit. And I don't think a lot of these people who have these opinions are willing to sign their name on that line. So I kind of be concerned for these people, you know what I mean? Because my cousins still do it, my friends still do it. Shout out to Chris who watching. Chris watching us, Greasy. You feel me? He in Germany now. He said he ready to go back to New York. It's over with.
Chris, I always told you I was the flyest one, bro. But my final thoughts: don't let them stomp on your constitutional rights. That's what skeptics always say. But this was a great episode. Protests. It's crazy. I mean, domestically and foreign, I think Trump is doing a bunch of wild stuff. I felt like it was just way more boring before. I mean, but for the podcast, it's entertaining. So I guess that's a good thing. Man Cave, have a good night.